What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Dynasty Warzone, the People's Dynasty Podcast, a proud streaming partner of the Player Profiler YouTube channel. I am your host. My name is Memphis. You can follow me on Twitter at DWZMemphis. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about some veteran red flags. Now, this guy was a red flag on Sunday, but I brought him back anyway. He is my man. He is my co-host. You know him as the man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair. What's up, buddy?
I am a walking, talking, stalking red flag, my dude. I'm excited to do this again. You know, it's few and far between that I get the pleasure, the joy, the beautiful times to talk to you multiple times in a week. But God damn it, is it good to do it? How are you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm good. I'm good. Super busy.
Looking good.
Dude, it's the new hat. It's low profile.
It's the green light too. I'm always a sucker for the green, man.
Well, that's the perfect segue into what we're doing. So this show is a bonus show. It's streamed live on Wednesday evening on our YouTube channel, the Dynasty Warzone YouTube channel. The normal show, what we call the big show or the main show, that streams Wednesday night on the Player Profiler YouTube channel. Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, the main show that becomes the Wednesday podcast streams Sunday night. And you get it early, like 3 days early, and not ad-free, but mostly ad-free, which is pretty cool. But that's the whole thing. You got to be subscribed to both YouTube channels and both audio feeds. Like literally, Jerry, how much does it cost to subscribe to our YouTube channel?
Nothing. You hit a button.
How much does it cost to subscribe to the Player Profiler YouTube channel?
Randall, that is the same price point.
How about either of our audio feeds? Like whether you're a Spotify guy, like you're a Spotify guy because you're a Droid guy. I'm an Apple, I'm an iPhone guy. So for me, that's easy. For you, it's you use Spotify. But whether you're using Spotify or I'm using Apple, what's it cost to subscribe to both feeds?
Nada pinata.
0.0. Costs nothing to subscribe to both YouTube feeds, both audio feeds. You won't miss any shows. And that's the high and low of it. I won't sit here and beleaguer the point and, go crazy, but that's the whole thing. The shows come out early. Like, I don't know when we're going to be able to get this in audio form on the audio thing. It'll probably be like Friday or Saturday because we're working through. Jerry, can I break some? I don't have a breaking news sounder on my app, but can I break some news?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So the Dynasty Warzone, thanks to all of the support from this existing audience, the new audience, we have been moved into the Player Profiler main feed. So not only are we on their YouTube channel, we appear on the same podcast network as Theo Grimminger, the Podfather, Billy Muzio, all of those guys. We are the first partner podcast to get that bump. So thank you. That's because of you. But because of that, I'm working with some of the Player Profiler behind this, the smart people, by the way. Like, we all know football. The Podfather knows football. Theo knows football, but they've got some real geniuses behind the scenes like Aaron, like John. I could go on and on and on. Seth, so many guys. They've been very helpful behind the scenes, but we're learning. It's new technology. So please be patient. But this is why you subscribe. YouTube's easy. YouTube's always on time. It's always there. If there's a show, it's on YouTube. When it becomes an audio show, it's going to be a little clunky. We had to start a show on Wednesday. Big shout out to our boy Jesse from the Dynasty War Games. Jerry, he kind of stole your bit. Did you notice that?
Jesse did?
Yeah, he went Judge Jesse. He went Judge Jesse. He was ruling whether or not a running back should be indicted based on their value towards your dynasty roster. So he saved the Wednesday show. We keep the streak alive.
Always.
And dude, Jesse's good people, all the guys. Again, subscribe everywhere. Jesse, let's get into the show. I do still have a good people with bad tweets. Are you ready, sir?
2? We got one for both episodes this week? Oh, Twitter, you have let me down.
Back to back, good people, bad tweets. But this is brought to you by our patron, patreon.com/Dynasty Warzone. We welcome two new two new members this week, and this is in the last couple of days. One was Paul, and the other was Famous Jones. Now, Famous Jones, he had an interesting message for me when he joined the Patreon. Okay, he was like, "Hey, you guys don't have tiers. You know how? What do I? It's $5. Famous Paul, it's $5. No, we don't have tiers. You know, we realize that we're not going to get rich on the pay for premium content. It keeps the lights on. It pays for the streaming service. Jerry, do you know who's getting?
We look like.
Be easy. Do you joking? Do you know who's getting paid on premium content sites?
Who's that?
Those are the chicks that are spreading their butt cheeks on like OnlyFans. We're not going to make that money. We don't have tiers. Well, Jerry, I know you would spread your butt cheeks if you thought there was an extra $5 a month in it for you, but that's not what we do. It's $5 a month. It pays for the streaming service. It pays for the annual streaming service. It's just the little things. It keeps us in business, and it's our best, most friendliest, kindest people. So if that's something that you're into and you want a really good group chat, as soon as we get done with this, Jerry and I are going to record a bonus show. And you get one-on-one roster help. A lot of rookie questions being asked right now, and I'm happy to do it. I get a draft vicariously through our patrons. So all of this, there is no tier. It's like, well, do I want the one-on-one help, or do I want the bonus podcast, or do I? It's $5. $5. Seriously, it's that easy. And we're going to be starting our newest patron league sometime after Father's Day. My goal is to get it going somewhere that week between like Father's Days, like the middle of June to like, in there. So spots still available for now. It's filling up quickly. Hop on Dynasty Warzone, patreon.com/Dynasty Warzone.
The Crip Mac on hood.
All right, let's get into this, Jerry. It's good people. It's bad tweets. This one was sent to me because this person blocked me, by the way. We're starting off hot. Coming in hot. You ready?
Well, no. Go ahead.
Do you know who blocked me? But this was sent to me because I went to look at it because
you were blocked. Oh,
I was blocked.
That's a good start.
It's a great start. It's a repeat offender. So this was sent to me by one of our patrons, and one of our patrons sent this to me, and I went to look at it, and I was blocked. I didn't even realize I was blocked, but I was blocked. But I've got multiple accounts, so I got the burner and went in. And it was Debro, Derek Brown, and it's at Debro_FFB. Got me blocked. Can't be stopped. Won't stop. Can't stop. I'm dancing. For those not watching on YouTube, I'm literally dancing. Can't stop, won't stop. But it was sent to me. This is how I found it. So, and his take is Ramondre Stevenson season. Ramondre Stevenson better than Christian McCaffrey in 2023. Yeah, I said it. Mondre season is here! ! Jerry, what's your thoughts?
Listen, if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, which he has been known to do, sure. What are we going to do? There's not a situation where Ramondre Stevenson is going to be more valuable in a draft, in trades, than Christian McCaffrey. Could he outperform him? Yeah. I mean, if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. I mean, listen, Mondre had 1,400 yards last year. Not bad. I mean, I'm not going to bet that he repeats it. I can't imagine that's going to happen, but I don't know. Here's the thing. You're trying to farm attention from people that are...
And he got it, by the way. By the way, he got 80,000 at the time of me screen clipping this and adding it into the show doc. It had, I can't tell if that's an 8 or a 9, but it's at least 80 or 90,000 views on this.
Because a lot of people see Christian McCaffrey as one of the top assets in fantasy football every single year. So the casual player is going to find that absolutely appalling, but also it's going to be a little hot takey, and he's going to get the interaction. We were in the same Scott Fish Bowl division a couple years ago. Don't want to brag. I made it further than everyone in the playoffs in that division. Suck it. Thank you. Whether that happens again going forward, who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Mike said the Patriots could sign Fournette. I wouldn't be surprised if Ezekiel Elliott ended up there either. That just seems like the exact kind of spot.
He's got different problems. You know what Shannon Sharp say? You don't want these problems. First of all, they gave James Robinson 2 years, $8 million, which
Yeah.
in and of itself for NFL money is not, but based
Right.
on the free agent running back market, he got a job way before the aforementioned Zeke Elliott and Kareem
True.
Hunt and Leonard Fournette. He's a guy who's been an RB1. Here are my things, because I wanted to be fair. Derek, lighten up, brother. I don't know why you blocked me, but your skin's got to be thicker than the skin on my dick.
You probably deserved it. Let's be real.
Well, he was on here before, and I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
And I think I know what it was. Maybe we'll discuss that on the Patreon. I'll share that with you in the Patreon, because I got a little inside baseball that I'll share with you. But I'll say again, Derek, lighten up, brother. Your skin's got to be thicker than that. That's on my dick. You got to be thicker than dick skin. But anyway, the pros is that he did get a 60. It's true. How thick is the skin on your dick?
That is that might be my favorite quote that you've ever done, and I am 100% stealing it.
No, think about it. How thick is the skin on your Pepe?
Listen, I know the logic is there for sure.
It's very thin. His skin does not need to be that thin. Relax, Francis. Just relax. But he does, and in fairness to Derek, he is talking about from a redraft standpoint, which I totally dig. The pros is that Stevenson did have a 66% snap share last year. It's pretty good.
And played all 17 games. Very rare.
It's up there with a guy that I'm going to talk about here in a bit when we do the Najee Harris, Travis Etienne debate. So that's a good snap share. But he did it because of a lack of Damian Harris. Now, you have gotten good at this. Now, who had more starts? Who was listed as the starting running back more in 2022? Was it Damian Harris or was it Ramondre?
Gotta be Harris.
It was Damian Harris. He played 11 games and he was listed per Pro Football Reference as the starter in 9 of those. And Ramondre was listed as the starter in 7. So there's this one game in there where I have no idea who started. But my overall point is that the majority of that 66% of snaps was really in a condensed 8-game stretch. And then Harris came back. He got hurt again. Ramondre got hurt, but to his credit, kind of toughed it out. But down the season, because the Patriots finished 8-9, he didn't get more than a 60% snap share in those last 2 games when New England needed it the most. And I'm just telling you, I'm not saying James Robinson because I like James Robinson. We hit on James Robinson in his rookie season. I'm not saying that. But Bill Belichick is a very fickle guy. Now, does James Robinson have like a LeGarrette Blount feel to him in this offense? Because he does to me. And I'm not saying James Robinson's going to, usurp him from a pass catching standpoint. I think this is going to get ugly. And I think it's going to get ugly quick. Now, I will tell you, I am very proud to be affiliated with playerprofiler.com for many reasons, but can I give you just one more?
I would be so happy. What you got?
So I was using the Dynasty tools. Like I've got the all-in package. Well worth it. I've had it for many years. It's just because I'm new to Player Profiler from a content standpoint does not mean that I've never used Player Profiler before. It's the best tools. But they have Ramondre as the RB14 in Dynasty. How does that set with you?
Ugly. Hate every second.
I think it's okay. I'm okay with that. That's an RB2. That's an RB2. That's about the lowest in the industry. Fantasy Pros has him as 13, which is there. It was Pro Football Network had him at like 10.
No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely no thank you. So I was very proud to see that they had him. I mean, you got to respect the volume from last year. Again, I mentioned the snap thing.
I mean, 60 some catches too, which is very good. Don't get me wrong.
I will just say this. I feel like Derek is baking in the injury upside of Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's focusing enough on the cannibalization of James Robinson if he earns a role. Plus, you got Kevin Harris there. Plus, you got Pierre Strong there. I don't think Ty Montgomery makes the team, but I don't think the 66% snap share is going to repeat itself. And I don't think I think it was 88 receptions. I'm sorry, 88 targets, 69 nice receptions. So all in all, Derek, you are a good guy. You got to lighten up, brother. But this is a good person. You heard that, Derek. You're a good person. This is a bad tweet. But hey, you know what? You got plenty of engagement and you got me and Jerry. talking about it. And that was brought to you by our patron, patreon.com/Dynasty Wars. And now, Jerry, I had my own viral tweet over the weekend. Did you see it?
Yeah, yours came with some vitriol, my friend.
You know, I'm all for good-spirited debate. I think it's great. Shout out to Ashton Martin. He's a super high-stakes best ball player. He runs in circles with Theo Grimminger and Dan from the GOAT District. I love Dan Williamson. Just a great guy. And he and I had some good-spirited, nice back and forth on Najee. And then there were some other people. You want to be a dick? I'm going to be a dick. But here's the heads up. I'm better at it than you. I don't want to be. I want to have friendly engagement. I want to grow. I want to interact. I want to have fun. But if you're going to be a penis, a lot of penis references today, by the way, Jerry.
So you know what's up my alley. Don't save that. Don't save that.
I'm gonna figure out how to clip that. I'm gonna put that like on a continuous loop on the on the show intro somehow. But let's get into it, man. Let's get into Najee versus Travis Etienne. Now, depends on where you get your rankings. They're not that far apart, but just about everywhere I've seen, including Player Profiler, they have Travis Etienne ahead of Najee Harris, Jerry. Now, when I say they have the majority, I'm clearly in the minority, and we're going to talk about that. But when I say Etienne and Harris, what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, I like Najee Harris a little better, which I know you do too. So that's going to make this not quite as spirited as we would like it to be. But even that being said, they're very close. Like, I know you have the Player Profiler pulled up. I have Fantasy Pros pulled up because I wanted to go the opposite end of the quality spectrum. So they have Travis Etienne at 6 and they have Najee at 12. That seems crazy to me. I don't know what Najee Harris has to do to get some damn love in here. He's just not sexy anymore. He's what Josh Jacobs was 365 days ago.
See, this is how. So, like, Jerry, how long have you and the lovely Mrs. Jerry been married?
Our 10-year anniversary is like 2 weeks from now.
Perfect. Me and the lovely Mrs. Memphis, we've been married what will be 19 years in October. And you get to the point to where in your relationship you can finish each other's sentences or know what the other one's going to say. Well, as you and I are on the precipice, that's one of your words, on the precipice of our 5th-year anniversary in July, you stole my guy. That is exactly who Najee Harris is. He is Josh Jacobs. Because I was going to ask you, do you know where Najee Harris went to school? Do you know where another former first-round drafted running back went that just gets all the disrespect in the world? It's Josh Jacobs.
And then he has the great season, and now everybody's on his jock.
Well, and that's the whole thing. It's like, so here's some of the pushback that I got on this. So my tweet said, having Travis Etienne ahead of Najee Harris in your dynasty rankings is bad process. One has 115 career receptions, just got major additions to the offensive line, got 0 added running backs to his team in the offseason, and the other one is Travis Etienne. I don't get it. I have people trying to convince me, Jerry, that Travis Etienne is better, but yeah, he's never been better. He may have been better in college. That's in the eye of the beholder. I leave that to Dallas, our rookie guy, and Cody when he was at Player Profiler, Cody Carpentier, those guys that do the Deviant stuff, maybe. All I know is what I've seen in the professional ranks, which is all I give 2 fat shits about. That's it. I know that Najee Harris, as a rookie, caught 74 balls. I know last year, Najee Harris caught 41 balls. And everybody was like, well, he's got Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson and blah, 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 and less target competition. Then why in the fat fuck did he not have more catches than Najee last year? Riddle me that, Batman. Riddle me that. Why did Travis Etienne only have 35 catches? Jerry, was Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville last year?
He was.
Did he play all 17 games last year?
He did.
Was Doug Peterson the coach all year?
He was.
Then why in the hell didn't Travis Etienne, the better pass catcher, that's what I've been told. Why didn't the better pass catcher with the better quarterback and the better offensive play caller, why didn't he have more catches?
That's a good question.
Now, the only person everybody's like, well, Jaylen Warren, do your research. Jalen Warren played just under 23% of the snaps. He had 77 carries. Najee had 272. Oh, and in spite of all that, Najee still scored more fantasy points than Travis Etienne last year. Oh, Najee Harris has a 300-point season on his resume. I don't want the guy that could do it. I want the guy that's only been better. And yes, I know Travis Etienne missed a season with his foot injury. Didn't matter. He came back. Najee Harris had his own foot injury last year. And what happened when Najee Harris got healthy in week 9? He literally ran wild from week 10 through the end of the season. From week 10 through week 18, Najee Harris, RB7 in that time frame. Go look at Travis Etienne in that. He sunk the boat. Unless your league played in week 18, he killed you in the fantasy playoffs. So, Jerry, I ask of you, and I'll go back to the tweet. They added Broderick Jones, big left tackle. They skipped ahead of the Jets to take the big left tackle. They got the guy that you drafted in a league that we're in together. They got Darnell Washington, 6'7", 270. They re-signed Zach Gentry. They brought in Isaac Seumalo. My Samoan's not what it used to be. They bring in all of these guys on the offensive line, and they brought in no running backs. Now, Jerry, whether I like Tank Bigsby or not, well, before I'll catch my breath. What do you think about Tank Bigsby in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's another guy. I think they're both in a similar situation. I think they are both exponentially better than the competition that they have, and they're both going to get a giant chunk. I just think the hotness is all about Travis Etienne right now, and everybody is ready to cast off Najee Harris.
Well, but
I think this is 100% a perceptive thing where the serious dynasty player, the person that obsesses over every intricate detail of this game, has overthought this situation. I feel like in a regular fantasy league, Najee Harris will go, like in your home league or your office league, Najee Harris is still going to go early just because his production suggests it. But people that have they live this game day in and day out, the ups and downs of his value and the lack of his sexiness over the last several months has just caused his value to go down.
And I'm here to scoop it up.
Me too, buddy. Listen, my MO, put it on my tombstone, is that I always take the running back that everybody hates. Miles Sanders, how you doing, buddy?
I mean, this is my point. I'm not saying that one's better. That beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I mean, they're both good. You'd be happy to have either.
But we play Dynasty, and I'm going to have both for 3 years. And I will tell you, I think Tank Bigsby. I don't think Tank Bigsby. Well, the reason why I say 3 years are going into this year is 1.
I know.
Year 4 of their rookie contract is 2. I think both teams pick up the 5th year option, and then we'll see. Yeah. So I got 3 years with both. All I've seen is a continuous pattern of usage with Najee Harris. I don't care that he's less efficient because he doesn't have to deal with Tank Bigsby. Because you know why they drafted? Do you know what round and what pick Tank Bigsby had used on him?
Not an early one.
What would you define as early?
It wasn't an early one. That's what I'm saying.
It was a top 100 pick. It was a top 100.
Tank was really?
He was drafted 88th overall.
Okay.
Now you're Doug Peterson. You saw something throughout the course of the season that says we need another back. Jermichael Hastings and Snoop Connor are not enough. I think Tank Bigsby. Now, is he more Zach Charbonnet to Kenny Walker? Probably. But I think this is a goal line issue. I think this is a touchdown issue. I don't think it's a receptions issue. I don't think it's but I think that some of that between the tackles, snap share, I think this hurts.
Ooh, is he CEH light?
No.
Not quite that bad, but a little bit. He's getting there.
Again, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying Najee Harris deserves to be up here on a pedestal and Travis Etienne. The gap's not the Grand Canyon. You know, the gap's a small gap, but you should not have Travis Etienne ahead of Najee Harris. That's my opinion. That's what I meant. So if I had one as like my RB9 and my other one as like my RB12, that means I could still value Najee Harris more than Travis Etienne without saying Travis Etienne's a big steamy pile of shit.
I think that's fair.
And this is the context that I wanted to put behind that tweet the other day. Just so much positive for Najee. Not so much negative, but nothing positive. I don't get excited. So I've got the guy. Well, Travis Etienne could have a 300-point season. Yeah, Najee's done that. Well, he could score more points, but he hasn't. My hair could grow back, but it probably won't. Maybe it could if I, use some products or whatever. But I'm just saying that don't let perception cost you, because upside, while it's tantalizing, isn't going to win. I'm just trying to win championships, Jerry. That's it.
Yep. I hear you. Listen, sizzle and steak, buddy. Sizzle and steak.
Now Najee is like a nice sirloin, all meat, very little fat, whereas, Najee is a little bit of like a New York strip, a little bit of a prime rib, a little bit of fat, a little bit of, you have to trim some of that off to really get to the good stuff. That's the difference. All right, Jerry, we've spent the first half of this show talking about some debates. We talked about Ramondre. We did a good person, bad tweets, but on Sunday, only on the Player Profiler YouTube channel and soon to be podcast, we talked about some rookie red flags. That was a good time.
True. Listen, everybody likes talking red flags because they scare the shit out of you. And
you don't ignore them. I mean, sometimes you ignore them. It's like there are several red flags. It's like, well, how long? It's like there's one night stand red flags, and then there's long-term relationship red flags. These red flags are not the same red flags. It's the same thing. There are redraft red flags, and then there are dynasty red flags. Would you say Zay Flowers is a redraft red flag? Would you want Zay Flowers in your rosters this year in redraft or best ball?
No.
Okay, but would you want him on your dynasty roster down the line a little bit?
Probably,
because he's a talented guy. So there's the difference. But we covered that from the rookie standpoint. We covered some ADP to start the season, some movers. Go over Player Profiler YouTube channel. Just subscribe everywhere on audio. You'll get it. And that's the companion piece to this. But Jerry, I have a question for you, buddy.
Okay. Which
veteran and their current dynasty ADP is the biggest red flag to you?
See, I'm going to call this guy a veteran.
Anybody not a rookie is a veteran. That's just,
I know. That's why I'm cheating a little bit, because this person has not played a ton, but it's Jameson Williams. I mean, this guy is like a 6th round startup pick right now, and he has 1 catch in like 8 games. He literally had a catastrophic injury to start his NFL career, and now he's suspended for the first chunk of games in his 2nd year. He's always going to be behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs just got drafted extremely early, even earlier than Jameson Williams went, and he went early. And that's all reliant on Jared Goff sustaining the production that he had last year, which is not necessarily a given. Us as NFL, as Lions fans and as dynasty players, we like to see people grow and grow and grow and grow. Doesn't necessarily work like that. There are ups and downs, and Jared Goff is exactly the type of player that it could have some regression. So I think he's going probably like mid 60s in a startup, maybe 70s. And listen, I get the upside. I understand that if he hits, I mean, the dude is a lightning rod, but holy shit, Randy, he's got 1 catch. It was a pretty catch. Don't get me wrong, but 1 in like 7 games.
Well, you nailed his ADP per Player Profiler dynasty rankings. Like, again, it's that simple. While Jerry was talking, I was able to switch over to the dynasty rankings, and Player Profiler has Jameson Williams as the wide receiver 38, nestled in a little man sandwich, Jerry.
Hey now.
little man sandwich right between Mike Williams and Jaden Reed. And then a guy that you're also a fan of, Jonathan Mingo. I've listened to the Podfather. I know that he's down on Jameson Williams. I think that's fair. What does he have to do coming back to get that bounce, that dead cat bounce? Like, can we call the floor and wide receiver 39's it, and there's nowhere to go but up?
I would say so. I do think that is probably his floor. Like like even if he goes 4 for 71 or something, like I'm cool with that. Like at this point, that I'm great with that production.
Yeah, what I'm looking for with Jamison Williams, and I've taken what you say because you're a Lions fan. He's a guy that I had a bunch of last year. I started to move some in the offseason before the suspension. And I agree. I mean, I'm hoping that game 7, when he comes back from the suspension, I literally hope he goes like Randy Moss versus the Cowboys back in the day on Thanksgiving and goes like 3 catches for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns. That way I can just get rid of him. I think I like Sam Laporta quite a bit, the new rookie tight end. That's volume going away.
Oh, man.
We know Amon-Ra St. Brown is a volume magnet. We know they brought in Jahmyr Gibbs to catch passes. Marvin Jones or, whomever they have on the other, boundary wide receiver, they're going to get some volume. How much is left? Even if they're a very pass-heavy offense, how much is left? And Jerry, what are the 2 V's? Be clean. What are the 2 V's of Dynasty Fantasy Football?
Value and volume, buddy.
And is he either right now?
I would say no.
I'm not.
I mean, he's definitely not volume. And at that price, is he value?
I mean, I would love to get out.
What does he have to do to be a value? I mean, he would have to.
What I'm saying.
He would have to be comparable to Amon-Ra, and that's just so unlikely to happen.
I didn't
Good
have a
for
chance.
The Lions, not as great for Dynasty.
I didn't get a chance to pull it up. I think he would need to come back and have Odell Beckham Jr.'s rookie season. Remember, this is for you younger folks. This was 2014, where Odell Beckham Jr. started the season really slow because he had a hamstring injury and then came on and literally smashed the league the back half of the season, won people some fantasy and dynasty championships that season. And I think that's what you need, Jerry. I think he's going to have that big burst.
I mean, and that's a big gamble. That's a big if, but
it's a big ask considering Amon-Ra St. Brown's there. I'll just say that. I mean, sure. even if he's the third banana, behind either Laporte. I mean, Amon-Ra, without saying, it's easy, cash it in, it's done. Don't even think about it. He's the main target guy there. But I don't think there's a guarantee that he gets out targeted, a Laporta or Gibbs. I think one or the other has more targets than him. So I'm with you. His ADP is a huge red flag. That 60-ish, which is right there, like at the 5 turn in a 1 QB league. That's too rich for me.
That's potentially your first wide receiver taken, depending how your draft has gone.
I mean, like I said, the guys right there in that range with him: Mike Williams, Jaden Reed, Johnny Mingo, Marvin Mims, 2 spots ahead of him. I think that's fair. I love Marvin Mims. But let's get into my guy. Because this is another one of those contentious Memphis bones to pick with the world. Are you ready? I don't know that I have another rant in me like I did on Najee, but are you ready?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so why is T. Higgins the wide receiver 12? Now, this is player profilers. Now, this is in a 1 QB. His ADP overall is 20. I don't get it. I admit that I don't get it, but I don't get it. He's never finished above wide receiver 19 on a season. His best finish is 19. What are we projecting? What have we seen? He even had a chunk of the season last year with no Jamar Chase on the field. Now, T. Higgins, again, he's the wide receiver 12, so he is the final wide receiver 1 in the player profiler, dynasty rankings. But I'll wait 2 rounds later and I'll get Michael Pittman. Last 2 years, Higgins' seasonal finishes have been wide receiver 24 and wide receiver 19. Pittman's seasonal finishes the last 2 years, wide receiver 17 and wide receiver 20. And I'm starting to have a little change of heart on Michael Pittman, because initially I had a little concern about the young quarterback, Anthony Richardson. But I said to myself, could Anthony Richardson be any worse than what was Matt Ryan, Sam Eason? Was that his name? Sam Eason? Sam Ellinger, not Eason. Sam Ellinger. Could he be any worse than that combination? Can it get any worse than Jeff Saturday as the head coach? So I said to myself, no, it's not. And I'm not saying that Pittman's going to be way better, But if over the last 2 years, they're both around wide receiver 21, 22 on a season on average, why wouldn't I take the 2-round discount and get another wide receiver or running back in that 20th overall selection, Jerry? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Listen, I like T. Higgins. Don't get me wrong. I think as a talent, absolutely wonderful player. Situation matters in this game. This is the Jordan Addison corollary. I can get Jordan Addison 4 or 5 rounds later. Same sort of situation. I'm probably hoping for about 1,100 yards and like 6 touchdowns. The difference is one of them is a early 3rd round startup pick, like T. Higgins is, going wide receiver 10-ish, 12-ish, wherever he's going. Probably not going to be long for the Cincinnati Bengals offense. So then he potentially goes to a poop offense where he's going to be the alpha, where all of the top corners are going to go to him and the quarterback's going to be not as good. I'm good on that. Like if I have T. Higgins, selling the hell out of him. It's not because I think he's bad. It's just because I think there's not a possibility that his trajectory has a chance to go up.
Well, I'm using Player Profiler ADP Dynasty rankings, and they have T. Higgins at 22 overall. Now, his ADP is 20. They have him at 22 overall. Now, the running backs that go after him are guys like Josh Jacobs, my buddy Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, Rashad White, guys of those likes. So would you rather have T. Higgins and then the running backs that are going around Pittman, which is 46 overall? Would you rather have T. Higgins and Javonte Williams or DeAndre Swift or Damian Pierce? Or would you rather have Najee Harris and Michael Pittman? I'd rather have Najee Harris and Michael Pittman because the bottom line is that if we think T. Higgins, and I do, if T. Higgins and Michael Pittman are going to score about the same number of fantasy points, I want that gap between Damian Pierce and Najee Harris. That's how I win. You know, what was that Adam Sandler movie, Uncut Gems? This is how I win. That's how I win. So that's why it was an ADP red flag for me on T. Higgins, just because of what you're giving up to drafting at where he's going in a 1 QB. Fair?
Yeah, and you just don't know the state of his long-term playing. You don't know his situation. You don't know where he could be. No. Like there's just not a possibility. That is too much volatility for you to be that reliant on from where he's going in a startup draft. Or even his trade value is just not a chance.
And you have the opportunity. I'm not saying it will get there, but Michael Pittman could be a poor man's A.J. Brown in that offense. He could be actually some kind of I don't know. He will be the main target, and give me the main target. I believe in Shane Steichen calling the offense, and
Which T. Higgins will never be in Cincinnati.
Not as long as Jamar Chase is there. So, Jerry, let's move to the running back position. All right,
okay.
Let's move to the running back. Which veteran running backs 2024, not this season, but 2024, which running backs value from where it's at now until 2024 is the biggest red flag? And like the example, maybe not this extreme, but think Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette this time last year was like in a startup, was probably RB 25-ish. And dude, he's plummeted off the map. Now I have my guy. Who's your running back that you think that in a year from now, he's got pretty solid value today, but we're going to look back in 12 short months and be like, God damn, how'd we miss that?
I think it's just going to be I think he's going to do fine this year. I just think his situation in 365 days from today is going to be exponentially different, and it's going to cause him to have where he's going now be absurd, and it's Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is in a great situation in 2023. Don't get me wrong. He will likely win redraft championships. But we're talking about a dude who has never taken the full workload as a 26-year-old. And then next year, he's probably going to be a free agent. And you're going to expect a newly acquired starting running back as a 27-year-old in a new situation to be a value. I can't imagine that being the case. And if he does do well, he's only going to be more expensive. And right now he's like RB9 going in like the 3rd round probably of a startup draft.
Well, you got the round right. Per player profiler, 1QB Dynasty rankings, he is 32 in ADP
Okay.
and the 12th RB. So he is RB 12 for player profiler, going just ahead of Rashad White and Ramondre Stevenson.
Like this is he's in a great situation. And he could easily live up to that billing this year. And if those were redraft rankings, totally cool, Randy.
What if he signs an extension between now and the start of the season? Would you
then
feel
you know
safer?
what? Then I'm stupid and I'm wrong.
No, you're
100%.
not stupid because the variable changes.
Yes.
But if he
there's no stability in a 1-year contract for a 26-year-old running back who has never been a starter before.
And that's my point as well, is that he's currently the 12. He's 26.1 years of age today, just a little bit older than Najee. He's about a year older than Najee. He's actually, believe it or not, he's just about a year older than Josh Jacobs. So if he signed an extension, I would probably leapfrog him up to 8, right there around Travis Etienne and your boy Ken Walker. But for me, I think that's fair. Without the extension,
contracts with running backs are so critical. Like I saw some rankings today that had Miles Sanders as like RB24 or something. Dude's got 3 years locked in. Like I know he's the guy. Why am I having him that low? I didn't understand it.
well, I agree with you. When I was writing the show sheet, so I write the show sheet, so I always get the right of first refusal. So for me, it's easy. And then Mike in the chat, Mike is like, and he's coming off a broken freaking leg. That's also true. So Mike, I think that's a tremendous call. Jerry, did broken leg come into your equation?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I hate him. Probably
it does now that Mike said it.
Hate is not.
Say it
hate
like
is
it
a
is.
strong word, but
say it like it is. Mike said it, and you're like, oh yeah. That's the ticket. He got a broken leg. No, okay, my guy, Christian McCaffrey. Now he is player profiler's RB6.
You're gonna piss some people off with that, buddy.
I got to be honest. In a 1QB, he has an overall ADP of 9 overall. And I think he's just riding off what was a great season last year as an RB2. But he's, to me, I think he's going to head toward a crash. And I think this is like the reason why Derek, when he mentioned earlier, good people, bad tweets, that he's got a nice hedge. First of all, this Kyle Shanahan offense eats running backs. And if he's actually going to persevere and make it through the season, this is why I like Elijah Mitchell. He's number 2 on the depth chart. He's going to get work. He's going to get snaps. Elijah Mitchell, Jerry, in your league's probably free right now.
Very free or very close to free.
And last year, he was going for firsts. He was going for late first-round picks last year, and he's free. But for me, I love Christian McCaffrey. He turns 27 in a couple of weeks. That's well past the age apex. And people don't realize he's coming off of 2 injury-filled seasons. I get you love the offense. I do too. I get you love the role. I do too. But the injuries still scare me. They don't get better with age. We've seen every running back, not some, not half, not a partial, not a percentage. All of the running backs in this offense in San Francisco get hurt and miss some sort of time. So for me, I love Christian McCaffrey, but to take him 9 overall in a startup, that's a hard pass for me. And as my RB6, I just can't do it, Jerry. Where are you at with CMC?
In the leagues I have him, I think I've just sort of accepted the fact that I'm going to have him till he dies on my roster. Because if you have him, you're going to be one of those teams that's definitely contending. Because if you at any point you were rebuilding and you still held on to him, you got to listen to our show more. You got to strategize better. But so you're just holding him. And you know what? It's going to be a volatile situation because when the wall hits, the wall's going to hit you in the face at full speed.
Yeah,
it's going to be Todd Gurley.
Austin Eckler's going behind him. RB, I can't see what RB that is, but he's 19 overall. He's a couple, looks like he's RB9. So it looks like he's 3 slots behind Christian McCaffrey. Let me ask you this: Christian McCaffrey or Kenneth Walker?
Kenneth Walker.
All day. Christian McCaffrey or Travis Etienne?
Travis Etienne.
In Dynasty, Travis Etienne, unless I'm a contender, then I would probably
Yeah.
still lean McCaffrey. But just in a
I don't know
vacuum,
if I would,
Travis,
though.
Austin Eckler or Christian McCaffrey?
I think that's the line because I think they're both in the same situation. So I think I'd
I'll
probably
take
take McCaffrey.
I'll take Austin Eckler in
I
that
I hear.
role
I mean, that's fair.
regardless. He's on like the contract year. They just quasi redid his contract, gave him a couple extra bucks. He's going to be free agent. Hungry dogs hunt. So for me, I could also see Christian McCaffrey have the workload lessened this year, trying to keep him fresh for what they hope is going to be a Super Bowl run. So, Jerry, we have two more categories of red flags, but just real quick, I want to make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you, but you're watching it on the Dynasty Warzone YouTube channel, make sure you jump over and subscribe to Player Profiler. And if you're listening to this on the Player Profiler Network, go over to the Dynasty Warzone Networks, YouTube and podcast, and subscribe. So, Jerry, which veteran RB, we're going to go back to running backs, or maybe you can go a different position. Which veteran from last year that was a red flag do you expect to bounce back from this year? Kind of like that post-hype sleeper that didn't hit last year that's providing tremendous value.
So I'm sticking with running back just because I gotta, right? That's what I do. Antonio Gibson, probably an 11th, 12th round startup pick, 13 maybe. I don't know. Double digits, I would guess for sure. Eric Bieniemy gets added. Eric Bieniemy's, been pretty helpful to running backs who can catch passes. Dude's been good. Dude's much better than Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson has just been a volume-based play, which is fine. But Antonio Gibson is just such a better athlete, such a better running back. The offense, I mean, at this point, the quarterbacks is going to be either Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett. So they're not going to rely on them to move the ball. They're going to have to run it. Or they're going to have to do quick passes if it ends up being Sam Howell or Brissett because they can't launch the ball down the field. Antonio Gibson. Hi, buddy. How you doing? And for as cheap as he is, I'll take that shit every single time.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at your man, Antonio Gibson. I remember I write the show sheet, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
I had access. I had time today to go to playerprofiler.com and look at the rankings. And I'm looking at this and I missed it. I'm just sitting here.
Emotional damage.
I'm hurting because my guy's right behind Antonio Gibson in the rankings. But let me read you this pocket of running backs.
Okay.
Right there. So I'm going to go running back 30 through 36. Okay.
Got you.
James Cook's 31. Isaiah Pacheco's 32.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Gibson's 33. AJ Dillon's 34. Alexander Madison 35, Alvin Kamara 36. I think you have the prize of that group. Of that
honestly, that's not a bad group though.
It's
just in general, like that's a good value group right there that shows. But
but
I agree.
That's a term I would use. Pocket of value. That is a tremendous pocket of value with A-Chain, Cook, Pacheco, Gibson, Dillon, Madison, Kamara. That's the RB, that's the back half of the RB3s. And if you told me you took, of that group, where do you think Antonio Gibson is from an age perspective? Because I bet you don't know his age.
I don't. 26
How old do you think,
probably.
How about 24.9?
God, really?
He'll just be turning 25 as the season starts. This is something that you and the Podfather have in common. On Player Profiler, he's listed as Jack Kavanaugh's guy. So I'll say, hey, can we get Jerry in there next to Antonio Gibson and because I agree. Again, I'm mad at myself because I write the show sheet and I left Antonio Gibson on the table, Jerry.
Good. Thank you. It's about damn time. I got a break.
Yeah,
right. I literally just sit here and talk this whole time. Randy's got to produce it. He's got to do the ads for it.
No, you're good. But my guy is the guy right behind Antonio Gibson in the rankings, and that's AJ Dillon. He's 25. Like, that's right at the age apex for Dynasty per Player Profiler. He's the RB34. He's a steal. That's a steal. Antonio Gibson is a bigger steal, but he's a steal. Jerry, and AJ Dillon did not produce last year. What percentage of the snaps do you think he played? Of the total offensive snaps, what do you think was his percentage?
33.
Add 16 to that. Add 50%.
Wow, really?
He played 49.7% of the snaps last year, and Green Bay was 18th in pass to run ratio. So even though they passed the ball 56% and change of the time, they were in the bottom half. So basically, the rest of the league on average was passing more than them. And that's with Aaron Rodgers. Now, do you think that number goes up or down with Jordan Love under center?
No, I mean, it's got to go up, right?
Aaron Jones, he played all the games last year. But if this team is struggling around the trade deadline, could you see Aaron Jones move to a contender?
Yeah.
And I think Aaron Jones is fine, but I think, man, if you're not going to re-sign AJ Dillon going into year 3, run the crap out of him for the next 2 years. I'm not calling for a big role reversal, but he does catch the ball better than you think. And I think at 25 years old, at RB 34 per the best ranking service in the world, what am I missing there, Jerry? I think he was a red flag. I get why people would think that he's a red flag, but I think we're getting serious value. And I love Gibson. I can't believe I missed that.
I mean, it's because of Aaron Jones. Where do you think he
go? I didn't disagree. I think it's Jordan Love.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, if Aaron Jones isn't there, that dude's going to go RB 11 off the board. He's going to be what Tony Pollard is.
Well, I'm into it. Well, Jerry, I got one more red flag category for you. And then we'll get these fine people out of here. Which veteran wide receiver's quarterback situation, not the wide receiver themselves, but whose quarterback situation has become the biggest red flag at this point in the offseason?
DJ Moore. Got it. Okay.
Now I know.
Let's talk about all the things that Justin Fields has done passing the ball. Like, there's a reason that Justin Fields in the Dynasty community loves him. And it sure as hell is not because he's going to pass for 380 yards in a game. I mean, he had multiple games where he passed for under 200 yards last year. In fact, probably a majority of his games he passed for under 200 yards last year.
He had 2 games, if I remember correctly. I don't want to misquote the stats, but top of my head, if I remember correctly, he only eclipsed 200 yards passing 2 times.
That's even worse than I thought, and I was bitching about him.
I'll pull it up for you to confirm, but yeah, keep going on.
Oh, no, I got it. You ain't kidding. 254, and one of them was 208.
Yeah, he had 0 300-yard games.
Yeah, no.
Which is surprising.
Going backwards from January 1st backwards, 75, 119, 152, 254, 153, 167. Oh my God, that's so yucky. Ew.
Well, I say that because what scares me is they were losing. They lost 10 straight games. Right. So typically when you're losing, what do you get? You get junk yards, you get junk passing, you get junk. But
let's even look at the attempts, right? How many of these are 50 attempts? 0. How many are 40? 0. How many are 30, Randy? 0. How many are 25? 4? 3? Looks like 3. 3 times he passed for over 25 times.
It's scary. And again, how do you think the Bears want to win?
I mean,
they want to run the ball. They brought in Deonta Foreman. They brought in Roshan Johnson. They kept Khalil Herbert. Not to say that he can't be good, but
agreed.
Again, I think from a talent standpoint, clearly Justin Fields is the most talented quarterback that DJ Moore has ever played in. But they still have Chase Claypool. For better or worse, they still have Darnell Mooney.
Alive too.
They still have Darnell Mooney. They drafted Tyler Scott. They still have Cole Kmet. Roshan can catch the ball out of the backfield. I don't see the volume. Well, Jerry, we're the 2 V's again. Continue to keep it clean.
Yeah, value and volume. And where's he going in player profile right now?
Give me just 1 second, sir. But I don't want to misquote. Oh my God, Rich Rebar. He was on Mind of Mansion with the Podfather a couple of weeks ago, and if you search Rich Rebar Mind of Mansion, you'll find the episode. But Rich Rebar is Mr. Konami Code, right? Yep. He can even probably say up, down, left, whatever it is. He is the Konami Code. He is the biggest fan of the Konami Code QB. He invented the Konami Code QB of all things. And in this episode with Matt, the Podfather, Rich lays out the reasons why he's trepidatious on Justin Fields. So wait a minute, we got the guy who's supposed to be the next big Konami Code quarterback and the guy who invented the Konami Code, and that guy has reservations. I'm just saying, I'm with you. I'm with Rich. I think there's reason for hesitancy, Jerry. And by the way, Justin Fields is the QB 8 in a quarterback rankings. And that's exactly where I have him, by the way. Actually, I have him 9.
And then, I mean, DJ Moore is probably not super far behind him. I mean,
13,
the hype
13, wide receiver 13.
Yeah, see, like, what does he have to do that? Like, 1,200, 1,300 yards? Like,
again,
there's no way he's going to match that.
He's in a manwich between T. Higgins and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Oh my God. See, there is a pocket of not value, Randy. That is a pocket of sizzle.
I mean, I love DJ Moore. He's only 26 years old, by the way.
Yeah, good.
He's
good. That's not the problem. The situation is the problem.
Well, and Jerry, to your kudos, that was the question. But do you know the guy that I have to bring up breaks my heart? You know, it's like the Godfather when Michael's talking to Fredo. You broke my heart. It's Cooper Kupp. Now, okay. I would say many, many moons ago, Jerry, when did you start doing this?
What, playing this game or this podcast?
No, the podcast, I know that, but like you started doing content. For me, it was 2017.
7 years ago? Yeah, probably
2017, and I was doing the Dynasty Warzone before we took it over, and it is what it is now. It was with John Sheps, our buddy from Toilets to Titles, and I was doing content with those guys. And my first hit ever was Cooper Kupp. I was like, guys, you got to get Cooper Kupp. I like this guy. By far my biggest hit. But my brother is 30 years old. He's coming off of injury, and so is his quarterback, Matthew Stafford. And Stafford's the issue here, to be quite honest.
Fair.
You know, when Stafford was, and when he was in Detroit, you were a Lions fan. You are a Lions fan. He was tougher than an old boot.
Yeah, still missed games, though. Got hurt.
You know, but he played through it. And that's where, you know, the Rams have one of the lowest win totals per Vegas in the entire league. I think the Cardinals, the Colts, and maybe 2 others are worse. Now, if you're Matthew Stafford,
they pushed all of their chips in, and they got the ring that they wanted. And now it is time that gets blown up, and you're not going to want to rely on 34-year-old Stafford. You're not going to rely on 30, 31-year-old Cooper Kupp. I'm with you. It's selling time. And you just did. You just did. We talked about it, but yep.
We're getting ready to go talk about that on our Patreon bonus podcast here in just a hot second. But yeah, I just don't see Stafford playing all 17 games. I mean, when he was a younger guy, because we were all tougher when we were younger. But, you know, but you know, you're seeing the money that they're giving guys like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan just got a gig. And you say to yourself, man, you know what? I live in Los Angeles. I've got a beautiful wife. She beat cancer. I'm in my mid-30s. I can make $10 million a year calling games in a booth, not getting the shit kicked out of me. And if the Rams do cash in on that bad win total and they're losing, do you move Cooper Kupp at the deadline to a contender? Do you move him? And then who does he wind up with? He could wind up anywhere. So for me, because, you know, the Rams are still shedding salary. They've got all these really expensive guys. That's the reason why Jalen Ramsey's not there and only got him 2/3. Because the league knew they were over a barrel. They had to shed some salary. And that's why it's not that Jalen Ramsey's not good at football. It's not that Cooper Kupp's not good at football. I think we're going to look back in a year and he's going to have been like on the season, like in that wide receiver 10 range. But that's why I cashed out. That's why I cashed out on Cooper Kupp. But Jerry, I think it's time we cash out on this show.
I think that's fair. I think we did good, buddy.
It's a bonus show. But you know what? For a bonus show, we went the full hour plus. We did good.
We're tryhards. What do you want?
Dude, I just love talking football. I love it. This is the best season. The live season is actually the slowest season, but we're going to continue to rip out content. We're going to be back on Sunday. Got a surprise topic for you, Jerry. I'll tell you off the air. I will tell you, the listeners, the audio listeners, the YouTube watchers, you do not want to miss Sunday's show. It might be the one that I'm looking forward to the most. And speaking of shows to look forward to, I'm doing the Commissioner's Show. It's called Kiss the Ring. It's only on Player Profiler. It's about being a benevolent dictator. Now, Jerry, benevolent means kind or well-meaning. And
From
dictator
Latin,
means
it does.
and dictator means dictator. So it's all about how to commission your leagues. I just confirmed my first two guests. Now, the next show is due June 5th, Monday, June 5th. I'm going to be live on the Player Profiler YouTube channel. Yes, it will eventually be a podcast. And my guest is John McGlynn. Good old Mr. McGlynn. He hosts the Commissioner Evaluation podcast. He's going to come on with me. He's going to discuss a topic. I've not got Ryan McDowell of the DLF. He's a big part of running the Scott Fish Bowl. Maybe you've heard of it. Ryan's going to come on. So when you hear the Kiss the Ring podcast, know we're talking about commissioning leagues. And this is the brainchild of the podfather, of Theo. They were crazy enough to give it to me. Thank you. And I'm going to run with this. But I did a solo show. Now the next 7 are going to be with guests. And it's designed to be interactive. So, Jerry, have you ever been in a league with a bad commissioner?
Yeah.
And would you love to share that bad commissioner story with the world, with the Player Profiler world?
Yeah, I'm a good ranter and raver, sir.
So here's the thing. If you've got a bad commissioner story that you want to share, here's how you potentially get that question or that story shared on the air, like as soon as the 5th with me and John. You go to YouTube, you subscribe to the Player Profiler YouTube channel and the Dynasty.
How much does that cost, Randy?
$0. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, it actually shows where you're what you're subscribed to. That's all you got to do. Take a picture of it. I'll see the Dynasty Warzone. I'll see Player Profiler. I'll add you in. And we've got one bad commissioner story. And Jerry, you ever been in a league where you thought to yourself, man, I wish there's someone I could ask. I wish there was a knowledgeable entity, an oracle of all things commissioner that I could ask a question to.
Well, here's the thing about me and commissioning. I'm a bad one. So I have a lot of questions, bud.
So same rules, same thing. DM me a picture, tag me on Twitter in a picture showing you're subscribed to both YouTube channels, and ask your question. And we're going to get into your questions. We want to help make the world. When I say I want to help, Jerry wants to help make the world a better place for fantasy football. But Jerry, you mentioned it. It's free to subscribe everywhere. It's free to leave a rating and review. We do have the Patreon. And but I'm ready to go talk to our patrons. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, buddy. Peace.
All right. So on behalf of that man, his name is Jerry Sinclair. Follow that man at JerrySinDWZ. Follow me at DWZ Memphis. Follow the show everywhere at Dynasty Warzone. And remember, we are just trying to make the world a better place for fantasy football. We'll see you back here on Sunday night and a podcast soon. Thanks, guys.